Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, October 25th. It is 6:21 right now. Market's gonna open in about 9 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. Looks like we are good to go here. So I will send this link out to you guys here in the premium. And it looks like we are good to go. So as people start joining in, I'm going to go ahead and mark up liquidity over here. Going down to the 4 hour. Down to the 2 hour. Down to the 1 hour. Down to the 30 minute. $15 minute. Down to the 10 minute. Down to the 1 minute. And it looks like we are good to go. All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, October 25th, 6:24 right now. Market's gonna open in about 6 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. So closest level of liquidity above is at 42,760, and the closest level of liquidity below is at 42,711. So there goes the first two levels of liquidity right there. I think that's pretty much it. There's another upper level of liquidity over here at 42,812. So this one right here is probably going to get hit pre-market. The next one above is at 42,812. So yeah, that one right there just got hit. And next one is a little bit higher. So I'll be sending the direction of the breakout in the Zoom chat, guys, in about 4 minutes. Again, just watch until the very last candle because I'll be letting you guys know if we will be flipping the trade or not. So as you guys know, basically, we'll have a direction at 6:29, but if the last candle right before open ends up being an extremely large candle, then we'll flip it the other way. So we'll see what happens here. Hey, CJ, morning. Morning, Glenn. Morning, guys. All right, we got market opening up shortly in about 4 minutes. We had news this morning too. We had durable goods at 5:30. Then we have Michigan consumer sentiment at 7. News at 7. There's one news event over here at 5:30. And we are good from there. All right, guys, a few minutes here. ATR again is kind of low. Similar markets yesterday. ATR is currently at 6 right now, so it's pretty low. Another direction of the breakout in about 2 minutes. Yeah, morning. So we still got people making their way in. Another 2 minutes until we'll have the direction of the breakout established. A little bit of some time here. Hey, Johnny, morning. Um, Breaking news here from CNBC. Nothing really. All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, October 25th. Happy Friday, everyone. 6:28 right now. Market's gonna open in about 2 minutes. I'll have the direction of the breakout shortly in about a minute. Um, Again, watch for the previous candle before market open, the 629 candle, because that candle is going to identify whether we're going to flip the position or not. So just keep that in mind. So we'll have the direction of the breakout in about 10 seconds. All right, guys, direction of the breakout has been posted in the Zoom chat. We got market opening up in about 40 seconds. Watch this candle right here, the 629 candle again, guys, because this will determine whether we flip the position or not. So we got market opening up in about 30 seconds. I don't think we'll be flipping it today. Market opening up in 15 seconds. We got market open in 10 seconds. Market open in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Market is open. Man, the slippage is always crazy on
Order
Kodi.
filled.
It's like such a crazy spike. But okay, we're in the position now. Well, I'm in the position at least. The slippage, like literally on the opening candle, is just always so big lately. Um, it's kind of annoying because it messes with my Apex accounts. Like basically the copier accounts get all messed up. My personal account is where it should be though. All right, so let's see. See if I get this all on one screen. All right, I got it there on the screen. So breakout's currently running right now, guys. Come back and take a look at that in a few. Um, Looking at current price, I mean, it's kind of doing the same thing that it's been doing for the past couple of days. It kind of pushes up a little bit or pushes in the direction and kind of pulls back a little bit. But looking at where price is currently at, we have liquidity up here. So the first target is going to be at 42,812. That's where we want price to go first. And then, of course, if prices climb up higher, there's more liquidity sitting up here. Our target for our breakout is going to be right in between these two levels of liquidity. So that's a good sign. If you guys want to take some market flow V2s, your entry is going to happen right here at the 770 mark. So if you want to take some market flow V2s, this is where you can put your pending buy limit. And yeah, let's kind of let it do what it needs to do. So breakout's currently running in profit right now, but as you can see, the market's not really moving super directional. It's the same thing that's been happening for the past, I guess, 3 days now. A lot of sideways movement. So I wouldn't really recommend taking the market flow V2s, but if you guys want to take them, I mean, it's up to you whether you want to take them or not. There just isn't really much of a confirmation of direction. We need to have the market flow confirmed first. So you need to have price to flow up, retrace, flow up, etc. So the market flow V2 just hit full TP right there. You guys took this full TP on that first level right there. So if you took that first market flow V2 full TP right there, if you want to take it again, you can just put your pending order again at the 770 mark. Until price pushes up higher, there's not going to be a push up just yet. Because the next level is here at the 80 and it's got a ways to go. So it gets to that point. So again, I'm going over here to the clean chart. I'm going to mark up the levels. So that's kind of where price is sitting right now. It's sitting between these two levels right here, between the 800 and the 700 mark. Well, it's really just sitting between these two levels right now. This is the current range. The bigger range is going to be the big 100-point range, though. So this is the current range right now between the 800 and the 750 mark. Just same thing that's been happening for the past couple of days. Getting really tired of this ranging market. Yeah, so I'm used to the breakout just hitting right away. So, like I said before, guys, there's not really much here to take like directional wise. This has been kind of the case for the past, I guess, a week or so. Um, I would wait for a confirmation before you start looking for these market flow V2s. So you can get into them, but I would wait for price to really confirm. Like for example, here, I would have waited for this to confirm at least one touch before going into any entries. Same with this, if price is coming down, I'd look for like one touch first before I look for any entries because otherwise price is probably just gonna keep going back and forth. There's just not very much direction here. If you are looking to take entries, it would be something like the V1 variation or something like that, or a high low momentum scalp. So those are probably going to be your best options. The main problem here is that price is right at the session, so that's going to be a red flag. I'm going to go to market opening price here as well. So market opened right there, and that's probably going to be the midway point opening price. See, Jamie said, "Sean, I did what we talked about yesterday, and it worked. Perfect." Yeah, so I think your problem, Jamie, was that you just weren't entering at the proper times. You're just a little too slow with it probably because it was hitting it like this whole week, the liquidity pushes. It's just that your entry would happen like a little too late and there'd be slippage or you just wouldn't get in where you needed to. And, obviously that becomes a problem. So yeah, glad to hear that it worked. So Jamie's been taking liquidity, as you guys know. She was having a problem like for the past week or so, basically with entry times. She put a pending order now at the liquidity and it worked out perfect. So that's good to hear. The volatility is just kind of it's kind of unpredictable for the past couple of days. So not just past couple of days, but for the past couple of weeks. So like the problem with entering liquidity manually is that sometimes price will spike right past it. And when it does, you hit sell and then it's like already down here and it's really too late. What Jamie did is she basically just put a pending order there. So whenever price passes through it, it just automatically fills and goes down. So yeah, that works, Jamie. Other than that, again, price is kind of just sitting where it's at. Um, let's go over to our SR chart. So I'm always gonna mark up about 3 charts. So I have one chart here with my tools, basically all of my indicators to identify the direction of price and identify directions of possible balance or manipulation. Looking at this over here, this is the clean chart. So on the clean chart right here, you can kind of see where price is sitting at. The midway point is going to be right here, the 750 mark. The lower range is going to be up down here at 700, and the upper range is going to be right here at the 800. So price is pretty much, I'm anticipating it's a range within this area. And obviously this would be the middle point. So let's go over to the SR chart. Let me go on the 10-minute real quick, identify some structure here for support and resistance. It's kind of all over the place. So let's see. Right, so right. It's a pretty big zone. So right now I'm just drawing support resistance on the 10-minute time frame, just to see where structure is currently sitting and where we can anticipate possible balance. All right, cool. So let's go back to the 1 minute. Okay, so looking at where price is currently at right now, in comparison to the clean chart. So price is currently looking to come down and possibly bounce off the support right here. So this looks like the range for the support resistance. Basically, the price was ranging between this middle point right here, this middle area. Came out above here, it faked out, and then it pulled back into the range. So the range here is very similar to pretty much the other markups that we have. This is basically where price is ranging from right here. And it's kind of pulled into this area. So the lower range over here kind of lines up with the lower range over here on the clean chart. And going over to our main chart, price is pretty much sitting at the New York high right here, the sessions. So I see a couple good things here. So looking over here, and we're just doing a multiple analysis of the chart. We're doing analysis of my main chart with my markups. We're doing an analysis over here of the clean chart, and we're also doing an analysis of the support and resistance chart over here. So looking at this over here on my main chart, I think this is probably going to be the best case of scenario for us, because looking at this here, price came down and did a liquidity sweep of this liquidity right here, and then now it's climbing right back up for correction, right? So what I'm seeing here is price came down, it tested this lower level of session, which is the New York high, which is also liquidity. So basically did a liquidity sweep of this area, and then now it's climbing back up for correction. Same with this over here. So liquidity sweeps work both ways. I mean, without using liquidity here, basically did the same thing with the lower level of price right here. So at the 700 level, price came down, it swept the 700 mark, and then it's coming right back up for correction. So looking at the analysis here across like different markups. So this is a clean chart, of course. It's the same markup, basically a W pattern to the upside. Same with the SR chart over here too. So price came down, basically it faked out into the range, sweep this like support right here, and it's coming back up. So same pattern across three different charts, which is a good sign. The SR chart, the clean chart, and my markup over here. We'll just have to wait and see how this here ends up playing through. Like I said, whenever price is near these sessions, it tends to be a lot of manipulated movements right here. So this is why we usually don't trade around the sessions because, I mean, price can really go in either way. Ideally, we want it to fake out right here and swing up, of course, but it can also fake out the other way if it's to create an M pattern this way. So we'll see. Again, we'll just have to wait and let this here kind of play through. I think this might be the same type of market as yesterday, where it's just going to be a little slow again. The ATR right now is currently 24, so it's the volatility is decent right now. It's not great, but it's decent. Typically it'd be closer to the 30 mark. Yeah, again, we'll just kind of wait here and let this here play through. But it's not really looking like we're getting much movement here. If anything, price is probably just going to stay within this lower range for a bit. First target here, of course, if price does push up, is going to be the opening price down. So that's kind of what we're looking for at the moment. All right, let's see if this here gets some volatility behind it. We got news over here at 7 o'clock, so that's going to be the high impact news event. Yesterday's market was kind of all over the place because we had so many news events throughout the day. We had a news event at 6:45, which was high impact, another news event at 7 that was high impact, and then another medium impact news at 7:30. So yesterday there was a lot of news kind of causing price to fluctuate in both directions. For today, we had news at 5:30. It didn't really affect the market too much. So I marked up news down here at 5:30. Didn't really do anything. Then we have the high impact news event over here for Michigan consumer sentiment. This is basically inflation news to see the sentiment for consumers. It's forecasted to be negative, so we'll see what happens. It's going to be hard to tell because yesterday the news was pretty much mixed, so you can't really forecast what's going to happen today. Yesterday they forecasted it to be negative, it was positive, and then they forecasted it opposite for it to be negative, and it was actually, or they forecasted it to be positive, it ended up being negative. So we might get a flat market until this comes out. So in 15 minutes, we'll have news. And price might just continue to go sideways here until then. Probably in the next 5 minutes, we'll get some pre-news movement. So market will probably start to move right before news is released. And then we'll see how it reacts to this news event here. I'm not expecting too much because it's not really going to be like something new. The news here is kind of just it's going to be a reiteration of like what's been released over the past couple of weeks. Next week is NFP, I believe. Let me check real quick. Yeah, next week is NFP. So all the new news is going to come out next week. We have non-farm payroll over here next Friday. Today's news, I don't think this is going to affect it too much. I think people will react to it, but I don't think it's going to affect it all that much. Here's breaking news from CNBC. The stocks rise, but S&P is still headed for a weekly decline. Live updates. So last update right here was 15 minutes to go on market open. If the stocks open in the green Friday, shortly after market open, S&P, NASDAQ were up 5% and 0.5%, 0.6%. Dow average gained about 208 points, roughly 0.5%. So it looks like all of the indexes are pretty bullish right now. The Dow is currently up 145 points, so this looks good. Obviously, I think, well, we'll see what happens. But for me, This shows that the market's going to, I think they're going to try to close the market in the green today because this week's been such a red week for the market, for the Dow. So I think they're going to try to push price up as much as they possibly can. So that's beneficial for us because our breakout for today is a buy, of course. So our breakout's back in profit. It's now at opening price. There he goes. It climbs back up. And let's see how it holds up here above the opening price. Realistically, we need it to keep above the opening price. I'll mark up more liquidity right here. So the good thing with this here is that we now have liquidity that's kind of sitting up here. But again, like I said, there's probably not going to be very much direction. So we got liquidity sitting right here. That's going to be the next target. If price needs to stay up here first, though. So price needs to stay above the opening price. Once it stays above the opening price, next target is going to be liquidity up here. We also have news coming up over here at 7 o'clock. So again, that's going to be another catalyst for price. But we are in the same situation as, I mean, I guess yesterday, basically. This thing pushed up 50 points right here. So we talked about this yesterday. I mean, like the main thing that would probably be adjusting to the breakout strategy or any type of breakout entry would be probably the TP stop loss. I'm not going to make any changes now because I think this here is temporary where price kind of is stale. I think there's just a lot of factors kind of playing in to the market from now until I'd say the end of the year. So we have elections coming up in about 2 weeks. I think the market's kind of like staying a little calm right now. So the thing is, if Trump wins the presidency, the market is going to be way more volatile. I can say that already because Trump has already kind of announced what he's going to do if he wins the presidency. He's going to enforce a lot of tariffs and he's going to lax a lot of regulation. So if Trump becomes president, we're going to go into hyperinflation for the most part. Well, we most likely will, which is not going to be good for the consumer because prices of everything are pretty much going to go up, but it's going to be good for the market because it's going to cause a lot of volatility in the market because everything's going to cost more. So like you're going to see a lot more fluctuations in the market. It's basically like the same market that was kind of running when Trump was president before. So that's like something to look out for next month, really, because the elections are going to play a big role. I mean, initially it wasn't really playing a big role because they were both kind of neutral with a lot of things. But now that we're getting closer and closer to the elections, he's starting to announce a lot of things that he's going to do once he becomes president. Kamala, she hasn't really said much, so I'm not sure like how the market will react to her being president. Obviously, I think hers will be a little bit more stable, of course, but I mean, again, we'll have to see. So I'm not going to make any changes to the TP stop loss just yet. I'm going to leave it as is, and then from there we'll kind of take it day by day. If the market continues to be flat like this, then of course, I'll make some adjustments. I'll probably tighten the TP stop loss to something a little bit tighter, maybe 75 points or maybe even 50 points in some instances. But as of now, I'm going to keep it at 100 because I think 100 is it's a good sweet spot to kind of leave it at. The only time I would really need to make changes is if like our TP doesn't get hit closer to like liquidation time. Like if this trade is running until like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, then yeah, for sure, there's going to need to be changes because we're going to run into issues with the broker and stuff. So, all right, guys, price is climbing up. Broke and retest the opening price, so that's looking good right there. Here's our breakouts currently in profit. We have price break and close above it, retest, and I'm looking for that continued climb right here. The only thing here that would be a little tricky is the news coming up at 7 o'clock. We got news coming up in about 9 minutes. It's forecasted to be negative. I'm hoping, even if it is negative, I'm hoping price pushes up and blasts right through. So yeah, Michigan consumer sentiment, it was previously 70.1. It's forecasted to be 69. All right, it looks like the price here is going to be a little flat until we get news out at 7 o'clock. But yeah, guys, there's just a lot of things happening behind the scenes that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. Like the war with Israel, that's still, well, Israel, Middle East, basically, that's still going on. There's just a lot of things going on that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. Like the stuff going on in the Middle East is still happening. Different countries are backing sides now, which is going to mess with oil, of course, the price of oil. So that's been a lot of talk behind the scenes. The elections, that's one big thing, of course. And there's just a lot of things that are kind of happening behind the scenes that people aren't really paying attention to. It's going to have an effect on the market, like probably by next year, maybe over the next couple of months or by next year. Also, Biden approved another stimulus package for Ukraine. So there's all this stuff going on. So, with money coming in and out of the country, us going into deeper debt, it's going to affect the market one way or another. So eventually, we're having this like kind of stale market right now. Eventually, it's going to pick up and it's going to start moving pretty heavily once things start to hit the fan. So just expect more volatility from now until like the end of the year, once everything starts to kind of pan out. But lately, we just haven't been having that. Again, here's a clean chart. Here's a pattern that I drew for you guys earlier. It did exactly that, right? It did the W pattern. Price came down, faked out, and then went all the way up right here. So I kind of anticipated this to happen. I drew this up and I was like, okay, this is probably what's going to happen here. And that's exactly what happened at this point. Now that price is kind of up here, it's now just going sideways. Yeah, the same W pattern I drew right here. It did exactly that. So glad that analysis played through. Again, right here, price is kind of sitting around this whole number, which is a 750 mark. This is a good sign because price is having trouble getting past it. So I'm hoping this kind of stays over here, pushes up, does the same thing right there. We do have news coming up in about 6 minutes. So in about 6 minutes, we'll see how price reacts to the news here. The good thing is that we have more liquidity starting to establish above this area right here. So with this liquidity here being established, these are going to be targets for price to kind of push back up and blast right through. So I'd be looking for another W pattern somewhere around here for it to climb right back up. All right, we got news coming up in about 6 minutes, guys. So we're starting to get the pre-news movement here. Like I said, usually like 10 minutes before news comes out, the market starts to move in a certain direction. You can see here it's starting to drop a little bit. A lot of people are starting to chase the buys because the news here is forecasted to be negative, like I said. I'm hoping the news is complete opposite and it just ends up spiking all the way back up. Basically, these would be considered like sucker bets, right? If you guys are familiar with like gambling. Because the thing is, people already know it's forecasted to be negative. So that's why people are starting to get into the sells here because they want to catch that spike to the downside, right? So around like 5 minutes before, 5 or 10 minutes before, people start to enter into trades in the direction of where they think price is going to go. So that's why price here is dropping a little bit because it's forecast to be negative. So everyone's like, okay, I'm going to enter in these sells right now on 650 and then try to get some movement here. All right, news coming up in about 4 minutes. I mean, realistically, it's not really doing too much. It's still kind of within this range. So it's not really moving too far. It's kind of just sitting within the range right now. Here's our SR chart. Price pretty much came down, retested the support right there. We'll see if it swings back up. All right. Let's see. Prices coming back down to the sessions right here. We got news in about 3 minutes. We'll see how market reacts to it. I think it'll probably sit around the session right here at this point. Or maybe it'll come down and sweep the liquidity down below. So what might happen here is price might come down, sweep this lower liquidity, and then come right back up again, that W pattern. But this is why I hate when news comes up and we're still in a position, because if, like, this is typically what happens. You start to get a lot of this manipulated push. Price starts to move in the direction of the news, and then ideally it'll correct back up. So there's just a couple different things that you can analyze here. We have liquidity sitting down here. So one thing that can happen is price can either fake out where it's currently at and come back up, faking out at the sessions right here. So basically do a sweep of the sessions. The other thing that can happen here is pricing come down, sweep the liquidity below here, and then fake out right back above. Or price can come down and continue dropping from there because the news is going to happen in about a minute. As you can see right here, price is faking out at the sessions. Now it swings back up. I'm hoping over the next couple weeks, which I think will be the case, I think we'll start to get more of a directional push for these breakouts. Hopefully, because it is NFP week, we'll be able to get in and out a lot quicker. Because this doesn't even, it's not even a breakout anymore when we come down to it. These breakouts are turning into more of a day trade since we're just not getting much direction. All right, guys, we have market opening, or we have markets already open. We have the news event coming out in about 50 seconds. See here as price is starting to correct back up. Pretty much came down, swept the sessions. And it swings back up. Same pattern as earlier. All right, we got news in about 20 seconds. I don't think it's going to really push price that much, at least not on the initial candle, but we'll see what happens with the news here when it gets released. So we got news getting released in about 5 seconds. And the news is coming out. The news was positive. So it's forecasted to be 68.9. It was actually 70.5. So it's good for the market. Price is climbing up right now. Good for the market, good for us. So hoping that people start to bandwagon onto this news event and it starts to climb up higher. Let's get some buyers in the market, push price right back up to where it needs to be. And then liquidity sitting right there, and we have liquidity up here as well. So now that we're having some push right here, I'm hoping this pushes up high enough to knock out the liquidity right there and then go up to that next level. But again, it's a sideways market, so see what happens here. All right, nothing again. So it's just sitting within this range down below. Does push up a little bit and then just kind of pulls right back below. It's really just ranging between this area here. We need price to really break out of this range. All right, so now we wait a bit longer. So again, if you guys are looking to take some market flow V2s, there's just no need to take any market flow V2s right now, guys. As you can see how price is currently moving at the moment, there's just no need to take anything because there's no direction. In order for you to take any directional strategies, you want to see price confirm that it's actually climbing, retracing, etc. We don't have this right here. Price is literally just going sideways. So if you do want to take entries, the main entries you want to look for would be V1 variations, CB patterns, or high-low momentum scalps, right? Those are probably going to be the main things to look out for. So here we go. As price continues to climb up, you have a buy signal right there. That's a good sign. Breakouts back in profit. And we are continuing to just watch this here as it climbs up. So I'm hoping a lot of people just bandwagon onto those buys, like I was saying, and then it pushes up higher from where it's currently at. It just doesn't have enough power to actually hold. So price came up, knocked out that liquidity right there. See if it has some more push and pushes up to the next level up here. Next level is going to be right there. And then right above it's going to be our TP for our breakout. There. Not right above it, but in between here and the next level above it. But here we go. This price continues to just go back and forth. So first target right now that I'm looking for is for price to push up and reach this whole number right here. So looking at the clean chart here, my first target where I want price to come up and touch is going to be the 800 level. For the SR chart over here, we don't even have zones up there. Yes, we do now. So for the SR chart over here, again, my target is going to be above this area too, the resistance. So looking for price push up here to the 800 mark, also to push up right here to the resistance, and for our main chart over here to push up to the next level of liquidity, which is going to be slightly higher. So we got a bunch of targets here for price to come and touch. It's just market's not really moving directional, so we just wait. There's a V1 variation pattern right there. I wouldn't take it for a sell. I'd look for V1 variations for buys, of course, because you want price to come up. But if you didn't want to take that as a V1 variation, it looks like it would have pushed for at least 10 points. Yeah, just enough. All right. So again, we're just kind of waiting here for something here to happen, and price is really just sitting in the middle. The breakout is in profit right now, but the volatility is just a little low. So there we go. It climbs back up. See if it knocks out that level of liquidity again right here. So what we want to happen here is you want price to just keep pushing up higher, pushing this higher high even higher, and then finally pushing up to this level of liquidity up here. Once you get to this level of liquidity, we're going to hope for a further push from that point as well. But for the most part, I think this is going to be a lot. We're going to be waiting past 8 o'clock again for this here to push to where it needs to go. 7:05 right now. I know we have an hour to go, but just looking at the volatility right now, not really seeing too much happening here. Not enough for it to really go to where it needs to go. The ATR is currently at 23 at the moment. Let's see. Here, I'll pull up the YouTube chat. I haven't been looking at it. Glenn said NQ is moving pretty good compared to YM. Yeah, I mean NQ usually does move pretty good compared to YM. It's always like a lot more volatile. Let's see real quick. Yeah, it's a lot more smooth too. Yeah, no, it looks good. If the breakout was taken here for NQ, it looks like it already hit TP. Price came down a little bit. Market opened on this green candle. Yeah, for sure. NQ would have hit already. Yeah, I haven't really tested the strategy on NQ, so I don't know what the long-term profitability is, but yeah, NQ is moving a lot smoother compared to YM here. The reason why NQ is moving like that is because there's earnings this week. A lot of the tech stock earnings are coming out this week and last week, so that's why NQ is moving a lot smoother. Earnings season is I mean it pretty much rotates, so probably next week I think there's earnings for stocks within YM and that will cause this to move a lot smoother. You know, S&P is actually moving a lot smoother too. Yeah, if anything, I mean, S&P would probably be a better option than going from YM to NQ because S&P typically, oh, so here's a good thing. The thing is, S&P is super bullish right now. So this is going to indicate that YM should be bullish too because S&P trails YM. So since this is bullish, YM should be bullish, which is good for our position right now. It's a little choppier, but and you can see over here, price is pushing up. The next target here is going to be the next level of liquidity above. So that's going to be the next target right there. Our breakout's looking pretty good so far. It's about halfway to target. Yeah, it's about 50 points in profit right now. So it's halfway to its profit target. If it breaks past this higher high, I think we're going to have a push to the upside. Like it's probably going to push all the way up to our TP at that point. We really just need to break that structure right there. All right, so that's looking good. Again, we just need price to break and close past this higher high. Once it breaks past that higher high, it'll hit liquidity, hopefully climb up even higher from there, and then continue pushing from that point. I'm kind of curious though to see how ES was moving yesterday. There we go. This price pushes past the liquidity. It broke and closed past it, so we're now in the liquidity zone. Now we would just need this push up a bit higher. It's getting close to our TP right there. About 56 points in profit so far. So currently so far for the week, we're at break even. We had a loss on Monday. We had a win on Tuesday, win on Wednesday, and a loss on Thursday, unfortunately. So we're at break even for the week so far. This trade is going to determine our stats for the week, hoping it pushes up higher and hits TP, of course. There's just a lot of signs pointing towards a bullish move for today because it's been bearish all week. So I think the market makers would like the market to close bullish this week, at least for today. So yeah, there's just a lot of factors pushing to the upside. Like I said, I think this year is going to be kind of slow, but we'll just have to wait for it here to keep moving through. So yeah, the stats for the month of October so far are pretty decent. They're not like super great, but they are pretty decent. Currently at around a 60% win rate for the month. We had 9 wins and 6 losses. So basically had a net profit of about 3 wins for the month, which is pretty good for a breakout strategy that's 1-to-1. I think that's like those stats are pretty decent for the most part. I mean, really the main goal every month is to be net positive. So being above a 50% win rate is good for us because we're really just looking to close out every month, you know, be profitable each month, month over month. And then on top of that, we're going to be using this as our data moving forward. So we're basically forward testing the data here for an entire month. October is going to be the first full month of the momentum breakout. So we started taking the momentum breakout or market open breakout in September, but it wasn't the momentum breakout that we're currently taking. So we started taking it like towards the end of September, and then now we're like taking a full month of momentum breakout. So this is going to be very beneficial for us because we'll have this data moving forward. And since this is the main strategy that I'll be applying, especially for the hedge fund, we'll be able to know exactly how things are going to work and how we need to make adjustments based off market conditions. The main thing here that we changed is just like that big spike candle on 629. That's like the only thing that's really changed. And having that data there is going to be very beneficial to being able to adapt with the market. So, if we need to adapt with the market because volatility is low, then we can do that. We're not going to make drastic changes. We're going to make sure that we make changes accordingly. So, all right, price is kind of just now sitting back down. So looking over here at the clean chart, it's pretty much doing what I just told you guys earlier. So I said earlier, price is probably going to keep ranging within the range right here between 800 and 700. And that's kind of what's happening here. So price is still within the range. Again, we need to have a confirmation for it to break above and continue climbing up higher. My guess is that by the end of today, price is going to be bullish. It's just going to be a matter of time until it is. So like right now, we just don't really have that because price is kind of just going back and forth. It's in a sideways move right now, but I do expect price to be bullish by the end of the day. So by the end of the day, I do expect price to make that climb and climb up even higher. Reason for that is because if you've been following the market for this week, market's been pretty bearish all throughout the week. So what I'm seeing is that they're probably going to want to close the market out bullish this week, at least on a Friday. So it's not a full red week for the most part. There's no breaking news here, no updates. Last news was on market open. And the one thing that I want to look at is just S&P, how it was moving yesterday. Because yesterday, a trade did not play through. Curious to see if S&P was a leading factor. So S&P was bearish yesterday. It was bearish for, I mean, it wasn't really super bearish though. It was bearish right here on open, kind of similar to what we were stuck with yesterday for the move. Let me check real quick. Markup from yesterday. Yeah, I guess it was a little similar. So the good thing with this is if we're going to look back to S&P to see how it's a leading indication of the direction of price for YM, then S&P here is very bullish. So it's looking like it should probably continue to be bullish moving forward. But yeah, I didn't really notice that they were moving differently because typically they always move the same. But lately they've just been super different for this week, which is very, very unusual for that specific asset. Because typically YM is the leading indicator for S&P, and they usually mirror each other. All right, guys, we got price kind of just sitting right here. There's not too much going on. 714 right now. Our breakout's still in profit, but it's kind of just sitting there. So like I said, I think price will kind of sit around for a bit. Eventually, I do think it'll climb up and stay up there. But it's just going to be a matter of time. So right now it's 7:15. We have about 45 minutes till 8. Yeah, other than that, there's just not really much here to take. If you guys want to take some V1 variations, look for the low to be established and then look for a double body or double wick rejection. So we'll see what happens here. All right, so when this candle closes, I'll be looking for those double body rejections or even a CV pattern or even just a push up from here. So price looks like it's pretty much sandwiched between these two liquidity points. This is the older liquidity that was already broken past of, but it's kind of just sitting between this area right here. Let's go to our clean chart. Yeah, for our clean chart over here, price is pretty much sitting between the 800 mark and the 750 mark. what we need price to do here is I need price to come right back above here and then sweep this liquidity. Looking at this here now, there's more liquidity just sitting up there. I'll clean this up. Now that price is kind of sitting right here, we want price to push back up, knock out this liquidity. This liquidity is actually better. So I like liquidity when it's like a stack like that. If you guys have seen this before, when I used to take liquidity pushes, this was a good sign because when you have them stacked like that, when they come and push through here, it's going to knock out this liquidity, but it also has this liquidity that hasn't been tested yet. So when it does that, it's going to likely blast right through. And then hopefully hit our TP at that point, right? So this is our TP right here, this black dotted line for the breakout. Looks like price will probably just consolidate here for a little bit, and then eventually it'll shoot back up. When it does shoot back up, hoping it goes right through and continues to climb from that point. So again, nothing going on here. Here's our clean chart. Price is sitting between the 800 and the 750. Now looking over here at the SR chart, price is pretty much sitting in between these two zones right here. So I mean, it's the same concept. We have price kind of in between the support resistance. They're at different price points, but they are kind of just sitting between the support resistance right here. This is a resistance. This is a support. Price just ranging between that point. Same with the clean chart over here. We have the 800 mark, 750 mark. Same with our main chart over here. Price is kind of just sitting between the liquidity and opening price down here. So same. They're just different price points. They're not exactly at the same price point, but they're about close to each other. All right, there's not really much here to work with, so we'll keep looking for something here, but for the most part, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. Otherwise, there's not much here to take. The thing to look out for here would be a V1 variation, of course. So if you see a V1 variation, that's going to be a reversal pattern back to the upside. That's something that I would recommend taking. I just haven't seen any V1 variation so far. There was one right here, but other than that, everything else has been kind of, yeah, they're like offset. They're not level. They need to be both on the same level. All right, here we go. Price pushes back up. So again, our breakout's still in profit, guys. It's just sitting there for the most part, but it is in profit. Again, I'm not touching it. I'm just leaving it as is. So what I'm looking for here again, guys, is I'm looking for price to break past this liquidity. I like that there's a stack liquidity right there. And then when it pushes up a little bit higher, TP's right there. So I'd like it to just blast right through it and then go and hit our TP right there. The next target is going to be the next level of liquidity up here, of course. There you go. Price climbs back up. Back to our clean chart. Like I said, nothing going on here. It's just a range. Back to our SR chart. Nothing going on here. Just a range. All right. So the waiting game continues. So the good thing with this here, and this is the same pattern that's been happening over the past couple of days, like basically if price sits in profit, like for the breakout, that's usually going to be the direction of price. So you can see how price is kind of just sitting up here and it's staying above here. I'm expecting price to eventually, once it gets closer to like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it's going to eventually climb up higher. It's the same thing that happened in the previous days as well. So if you look at our entries from this week, so yesterday price kind of stayed within the drawdown most of the session. So like price ended up coming down further. Same with the day before that, price kind of stayed below here. It came up for a little bit, but then it came back below here and just sat around this area for a while. So once it did that, it ended up hitting TP. The day before that, same thing. Price kind of stayed above in profit for like most of the session, came down a little bit, and then it ended up pushing up to where it needed to go. So with that said, I mean, with where price is currently sitting right now, this is a good sign that price is eventually going to push up because it's staying in profit for the most part for most of the session. And it's just kind of sitting down here, but eventually it's going to have a stride to the upside. That's kind of what I'm expecting. Right now, we're currently at break even for the week. Like I said, we had a loss on Monday. We had 2 back-to-back wins on Tuesday, Wednesday. Yesterday, unfortunately, we had a loss. And then I'm hoping today's going to be a win so that we can close out this week in the positive. Either way, we're net positive for the month so far, so it doesn't really affect the overall net profit of the, I mean, it does affect it, but we're still net positive for the month of October. So this month's been pretty good. I'll put the stats here again for this month. So October momentum breakout stats so far. So October week 1, we had +3 net wins. We basically had a pretty nice win streak week 1. Week 2, we had 1 net loss. Over week 3, or those 4 net wins actually. So week 3, break even week. And October week 4. This is the week that we're currently in right now. So October week 4, it's either going to be a plus net win or a 1 net loss. Either way, we're net profitable for the month so far for October. So of course I'd like this to win because October's kind of been the past 2 weeks have been kind of a toss-up. You can see over here for week 2 is a net loss of 1. Week 3 was break even, and then obviously week 4 right now. Hoping this is going to be a plus net 1. And then from there, we'll be at plus net 4 for the month so far. And then we have 1 more week after. Next week is NFP week. I'm going to count next week as October week 5. Because for November, let me check real quick. So November, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we have 4 weeks in November. So I'm going to count next week as October week 5 versus November week 1. Because it's only November on Friday. Majority of the week is October. So yeah, these are our stats so far for our official live trades. And this trade right here is going to determine how we close out this week. So here we go as price climbs up higher. Here's our breakout back in profit. Like I said, it's kind of just sitting right there. We really just need price to come up and blast through this liquidity. Once price pushes up and blasts through that liquidity right there, we're going to be a lot closer to our target, which is right there. So we just need price to climb a bit higher. So looking over here at our clean chart, I need price to really get to this point right here. Price can get to this point, it's going to hit liquidity. And hopefully from there, it'll push up even higher and just continue climbing. Here's price pushing up to the resistance. So we all have the same target here. If you're trading support resistance, your target's going to be this resistance right here. If you're trading whole numbers, your target's going to be this whole number right here, 800. If you're trading on my main chart over here, target's going to be liquidity. So we just have a lot of like the analysis here just points to the upside. It's just we're kind of waiting for price to get to that point. Looks like there's a pending buy signal here. So once that pending buy signal closes, hopefully that's going to be the catalyst for it to push up higher. We're currently in profit about 50 points on the breakout right now. So breakout again is up in profit about 50 points. And again, we're just waiting here for price to continue climbing up higher. I mean, if you wanted to double dip into this position, there's a lot of opportunities here to double dip into it. Like I've seen a couple of people in the group do that. Basically, they'll take it for 50 points. If it pulls back to open, they take it for another 50 points. Comes back to open, they take it for another 50 points. Um, and instead of locking in like 100 points, they end up locking in like 200 points or even more. It's not something I recommend for everybody, but if it's something that you think that you could pull off, I mean, I'm just sharing that with you guys. That's something that some people do. Or some people will do, they'll go for 25 points. They'll just keep entering around the entry point. That's because that's the type of market we're currently in. Normally, the market won't be ranging like this so heavily. It'll just kind of just go straight through. But because the market's been ranging, some people get creative and they just kind of double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip into the position. And that's all up to preference. Like for me personally, that's something that I would personally do, but it's not for everybody because it takes more work to do that. You have to actually focus and pay attention to like where price is moving and then get in and out when you can. But the good thing is that when they are doing that, they're going in the direction of the breakout. So that's the direction that we're waiting for. So they're expecting price to kind of just come down, bounce, come down, bounce, come down, bounce, etc. All right. So still not much going on here. Let me check CNBC real quick. Any updates? No updates. Pretty much a flat market for the most part. Let's check this over here. No updates at all. It's pretty much just staying flat. Let's check ES real quick. All right, so the good sign here is that ES is still climbing up higher. So if ES climbs higher, ES and YM typically mirror each other. So if ES is continuing to climb up even more from there, then I'm expecting YM to also do the same thing, climb up from there. Okay. So with that said, let's check out Bloomberg real quick, see if there's any updates over here. So here's some news from Bloomberg. So all the news here that was just released from Bloomberg is good for our position. So it says this is the news that happened at 7 o'clock. It says U.S. consumer sentiment rises to 6-month high on rate relief. So this shows that like the inflation is kind of going down a little bit and it's looking good for the economy. This is good for us because if the economy is good, the market's gonna be good. And we're in a buy right now. So this breaking news right here from Bloomberg is a good sign for us. So economists boost U.S. growth, spending forecasts into early 2025. So this is just pretty much breaking down the stuff that was released this morning as well. Basically saying that we're on a growth path to get out of this inflationary period. And this is good for our position too. So I think with these news events that were released, eventually later today, I think price is going to push up a little bit higher and climb up from where it's currently at. Here's what I was talking about earlier, depending on who becomes president. So here are the 5 industries with most at stake in presidential election: healthcare, energy, retailers, of course, big banks, retail, of course, energy. That's about it. So basically, these are the main things. And the thing with this, it's going to affect us because all these sectors tie into YM. So all these sectors tie into YM, the asset that we're trading. We have stocks within the YM that fall within everything here. Big banks, JP Morgan's part of YM. Healthcare over here. Of course, we have healthcare stocks within YM. Retail, of course, like all this stuff ties into YM. So if you guys want to look at this, you guys can find this on Bloomberg. It's just going to give you guys like the details of of each side. So yeah, if Trump wins, we're probably going to go into some hyperinflation. It's going to be really tricky. If Kamala wins, it'll probably be more of a stable transition, but she also has an agenda to follow too with regard to healthcare. So there's going to be pros and cons in both directions, but I'm hoping that once the election is over, it's going to create more volatility in the market, of course. All right, back to the charts. There's nothing really going on here, guys. Just like I said earlier, price is probably just going to keep sitting within this middle area for the time being. Probably in the next hour or so, we'll start to get some directional push, but for the most part, I mean, our target's going to be up here. Its target's still going to be the 800 mark, but price is probably going to sit within this area for the next while. Same with this here. It's just going to keep ranging in the area here. All right, so if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're probably just gonna watch this do nothing for the most part. Again, if you guys are looking to take some entries, there's a CV pattern that came up right here. There's a low with a red candle, there's a smaller green candle following it. So that's a CV pattern that's currently running at the moment. So again, I'll put right here, strategies to use during sideways ranging market. So one is going to be V1. I don't even have to listen like that. V1 variation, V2 variation, V3 variation, CV pattern, and high-low momentum scalp. That's basically it. So if you're looking to take any entries here, those would be like the main ones to apply. V1 variations, V2 variations, V3 variations, CV patterns, and high-low momentum scalps. Those are like the main ones to look at. Because these are meant for a sideways market. So basically you're looking for like a double body rejection at some point and then looking for it to climb back up. Because that double body rejection is going to identify a reversal, right? Yeah, these are all basically reversal patterns. So a V1 variation would be a double body or double wick. V2 variation would just be a bottom with a red candle followed by a green candle, identifying a V shape. Same with the V3. V2 and V3 are pretty much the same. CVs is just a little slightly different. It's more of an engulfing variation pattern. And then the high-low momentum scalp is basically identifying a lower low. If a buy signal right here comes up and breaks and close past pivots 1 and 2, then that'd be a high-low momentum scalp entry. Most of you guys, if you guys have been around for a while, you guys know these strategies. These are like the strategies that we typically use during the winter. I mean, it's still fall right now, so I was expecting the market to be more directional and volatile, but looks like for this specific week, it's kind of just, I mean, it feels like the way that the market's moving right here, this kind of feels like a November or a December market condition, right? If we're in the middle of, if we're like late November or like late December, like say we're trading around Thanksgiving time or Christmas time or New Year's time, then this would be okay. I would expect this to be the market conditions. Like this is normally how the market moves during that time. But we're like in October right now. We're in the like prime time of fall season. So typically, if you guys ever are curious to look at how the market was moving back then, you can always even just pull up. So let's see. I think I have a clean chart here. There we go. The SR chart that I don't really use anymore. So here, let's go back to October, late October of last year. If I can go back that far, I'm pretty sure I can. Just gonna take a while for this data here to upload. It's June. April. February, January, November. Is this as far as it goes? Yeah. So you guys can see over here, basically October 25th of last year, market open right here at 6:30. So see how this was like a big directional push between 6:30 and 8? Like this is how the market should be moving. Again, like the next day after that, of course, that Thursday. See how price here moves directional? This is how the market should be moving during this time period. Right here, this is Friday morning, 6:30, directional push. So you guys can see from historical data here, market should be moving directional. So for example, here, this is October 30th. This is between 6:30 and 8, directional push. Here's Halloween, October 31st of last year. This is 6:30 right here, directional push to the upside. So you guys can see typically around this time, it should be moving directional. Once you get into November, so this is November over here. See, at this point now, okay, it's fine to see price going sideways because that's how the market's supposed to move during the holidays, right? You go over here closer to Thanksgiving. This is from 6:30 up until 8 o'clock. Price goes sideways right here. That's normal. So it's I mean, it's just the type of market that we're currently in right now. I feel like we keep getting pushed back further and further. Um, yeah, like Kenny said, you should have seen the market after 8 o'clock. It was moving real good. Yeah. So what's been happening lately and with market conditions is that the market just starts to move a little more smoother later in the session. That's kind of like what's been happening lately. Um, which is, of course, as you guys know, annoying because we want pricing moving like that right now. So let's go back to yesterday's market around 8 o'clock. Again, the breakout's like right at entry point, guys. It's still in profit. It's kind of just sitting there. There's nothing to take right now. So we're just going to go back and take a look at how stuff was moving yesterday. So yesterday after 8 o'clock, and that's what I was saying earlier, Kenny. So like basically with the breakout, we're going to be holding on to this position. And then eventually, like once 8 o'clock hits, like 8 or 9 o'clock, it's going to move directional where it's going to push where we want it to push, right? Um, which is fine. I mean, that's okay. It's just annoying that we have to wait that long for it to get to that point. But yeah, let's go back to yesterday. So this was Thursday. Yeah, once 8 o'clock hit, it started to move, or not 8 o'clock, but like, yeah, a little bit after 8. So 8 o'clock was right here. It came down a little bit, retraced. So around like 8:20, this is where the market started to move pretty directional. And then it came back up right here. And then it went sideways from 10:30 up until market close. So what's been happening lately for the past couple of days, or past couple of weeks, I guess, past 2 weeks, is you start to get a directional push like after 8 o'clock. It usually lasts for about an hour or 2 hours. You can see over here the directional push lasted between 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock, and then it just pretty much went flat after that. So there's like these small windows where volatility picks up and it starts to move directional. And then after that, it kind of just goes back to where it was before. So yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is kind of the market that we're currently in. This doesn't necessarily mean the market's always going to be like this. Like I said, looking at historical data, I've been trading live for I think almost 8 years now. So for 8 years, we've seen the market kind of change a little bit. Historically, the market shouldn't be moving like this around this time, but this is just the type of market that we're currently in for this year. I think the election has a lot to do with it, and just a lot of the stuff going on behind the scenes. Because last October, there wasn't a war going on. That was one. There was no election going on, so market was moving smoother. Whenever there's stuff going on behind the scenes, like an election or a war or some sort of something crazy going on in the world. There tends to be like a little shift in market patterns and basically market structure and how the market moves. When we're in a normal year where like there's no election going on, like the president's already in place, um, when there's no wars really happening, then the market moves how it's supposed to. So I'm hoping after this year, the market's going to go back to just kind of moving a little smoother, hopefully by January, once the new president is in house. Um, because like this market just isn't it. Like, you guys have been trading with me for a while. We don't really see this happen very often um during like the busy time of the year. Usually this is okay during the holidays. Like if it hits December, I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a lot of days where it's gonna be like this and we expect it. It's supposed to be a slow month. If you guys look at the data for our trades, so if we go back to 2023, let's go back to October over here. So looking at October over here, we had like a total of like 20 trades. That's like on average, like what we would normally take. Um, right. And so last October is actually really good. You can see over here, we got a pretty nice win streak. For October last year, we were taking the scalps. We had a total of 19 wins and just one loss. So this was pretty smooth. And if you look at the entries that we took for October last year, it was a lot of these scalp entries. So let's go over here real quick. And yeah. So this is October of last year, right? You guys can see I've been doing the same thing for years. It's not like I've changed anything. It's just the market's not moving how it should be. Like right here, this is October. What day was this? Let's go to October 24th of last year. So it looks like on October 24th, it was actually kind of ranging a little bit. Let's go to October 27th. But for the most part, it should be directional. So you can see over here how price is moving pretty directional. Um, that's typically how the market should be moving. So you can see over here, this was October 23rd. It was moving pretty directional. But for this whole week, like basically this whole week and last week, it's just been going sideways. There hasn't been very much direction. I mean, if we look over here, October 27, same thing, right? Price is moving directional here. It goes sideways for a bit, but right here on open, it should at least be moving directional. So if we took the breakout right here on this date, looks like the breakout would have went straight to TP right there. Um, same with this one over here. If we were to take the breakout over here, it looks like we would have went straight to our TP as well. But I mean, it is what it is. We can't control the market. Market kind of does what it wants to do. So we'll we'll just leave it to do what it needs to do for the most part. Let's see. Yeah, Kenny said a lot of people are scared to send money right now. Yeah, exactly. The economy and all that stuff. Like I said, I think once the next president comes in play, it'll kind of change people's aspect a little bit because we'll have something to look forward to. President Joe Biden just hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't been in the picture. I understand he's old and stuff, but I mean, he shouldn't have been president to begin with. Um, if you guys have seen this presidency, like there has been nothing going on. I've never seen him on the news. I don't see him announce anything. It's nothing compared to, and it doesn't have to do with Trump or Democrats or Republicans. It's just Biden just isn't a good president. Because we've traded through the different presidents. Like we traded through Trump, that was a fun time. We traded through Barack Obama, that was a fun time too. It was like whenever these other presidents were in play, there was always something going on, right? They're always very spoken. They had a stance on something. The thing with Joe is that he didn't really have a stance on anything. So like price, like with the market, it's like how the market reacts to the presidency, right? If the president has a stance on something, then price will either be bullish or price will be bearish, right? The thing with Biden is that he doesn't have a stance on anything. He's so wishy-washy on every subject that the market just goes sideways because nobody can pick a side. So yeah, I'm super glad he's finally going to be out of office. I mean, these past 2 years of trading, I feel like have been a lot slower compared to what we've been used to. I don't have the stats from 2022, but you guys can see over here the stats from 2023 they're a little slower than what we're used to. Like I can say that for sure. A little slower than what we're used to. And then this year, of course, I mean, even slower at that point. Actually, we took a couple more trades. It kind of just depends on like on my style of trading at the time. So we took a little bit more trades. The win rate was a little lower because we kind of went into a lot more of these breakout entries. Um, but yeah, hoping like the next 2 months the market will kind of pick a side. I don't care what side because we'll be taking our breakouts either for buys or for sells. But but at least we'll have some sort of movement in the market, like directional wise. Yeah, Sam said Democrats don't do what they say, where Trump, even though he's a bit of a jerk, at least he does and sticks with policies. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%, Sam. That's why, like, I was saying I don't really care like who becomes president. I just want them to have a stance on something. Like, I don't care if Kamala wins, I don't care if Trump wins. I just want them to have a stance. Whether Kamala becomes president and then she puts out all these restrictions and all these policies and stuff, that's fine because if the market's going down, I'm going to sell, right? Like, I don't care if Kamala becomes president and then she has all these things that work against us in the market, or not against us, but the market in general. Because if the market's going down, then that's fine. We'll have volatility for our breakouts to hit right away. And then if Trump becomes president, enforces all these tariffs and relaxes regulation, then price will be pushing up. And I don't care either because our breakouts are going to be for buys in that situation. So yeah, it doesn't really matter to me who wins the presidency. I just want the president to have some sort of stance or at least some sort of backbone, to kind of like push us through the market, push us through the year and have something to look forward to. So uh yeah, Kenny said don't repeat that. Yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. Like over the next couple months, we'll see what happens. I just need the market to do something. I really needed to do something because I'm not used to this. So market open right here at 6:30, right? This is opening price. Like this just reminds me of the summer market. Look how far it's dropped so far. 48 points. Like that's crazy. Like market has opened and it's been open for about almost 2 hours now. And it's only moved moved up about 60 points, dropped here about 40 points. That's like nothing compared to like where it should be. It should be moving at least 100 points. That's the whole reason I tested the strategy for 100 points because 100 points is the threshold. Um, I mean, it is what it is. This is just the tech market that we're currently in. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this year plays through. CJ said, I've seen Biden in the media literally falling over more than I've seen his stance on anything. Yeah, no, CJ is 100% right. Yeah, I mean, it's just also it's like it's crazy that like people like the whole world makes a mockery of like our current president, right? I mean, they're making a mockery of like Trump before, but like this is like more of like they're like legitimately making fun of the president for like everything he does. I get it. He's old, right? He's old and he can't stand straight or he falls downstairs or can't remember what he's talking about. Like I get that, but like the whole world kind of makes a mockery of that. They were mocking Trump when Trump was president, but they were mocking him because he was an asshole, of course. Like, that's they're gonna make memes about Trump for being himself. But yeah, it's a crazy time we're in. I'm hoping that in the next election we'll have like candidates that people actually want. I feel like this year nobody really has a strong choice. They kind of just are stuck with the two choices, which is okay. I mean, it's only gonna last for hopefully it's well, if Trump wins, he's not gonna be there for the full re-election. He's just gonna be there to finish out the term. So we'll see. I just don't know what to expect if Kamala's gonna be president. I'm hoping it's not gonna be the same thing that we're currently in. Because Kamala's been VP for the whole term and she did literally nothing. All of a sudden she's gonna do all this stuff. So we'll I guess we'll see what happens. CJ said Biden didn't even realize that Hurricane Helen wiped out entire towns in North Carolina. I know it's crazy, right? But I think that was expected. I think once the election went off, they already kind of cut the cord on Biden, right? Biden wasn't allowed to speak at anything anymore. Especially after I think the last interview he had where he kind of like just dozed off a little bit. I mean, during his campaign, of course, it wasn't a good look. So uh I think that was like based off the government. I think the government just doesn't want him in the camera anymore. So it's all good. All right, guys, 7:51 right now. We got about 9 minutes till 8. There's not really much going on here. Price is probably gonna keep going sideways. Our breakout's still running right now. This is probably gonna play out for like another 2 or 3 hours. I'm hoping it doesn't last until like past 11, because if it does, then that's going to be a bit of an issue. We're gonna have to close out a little early. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I just don't think there's much here for us to look at or take. I was hoping to look for some V1 variations here for you guys, but there just isn't any coming up. There's no V1s, there's no CV patterns, there's no high level momentum scalps. There's not much of anything here. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll keep you guys updated in the Discord regarding the position. Obviously, I'm gonna leave my laptop open. Um, but I feel like there's just no need for us to kind of stay on here for the next 8 minutes to watch paint dry, essentially. Price is still within the range. Here's our clean chart. So like I mentioned earlier, I marked up these zones or these price levels when market opened at 6:30. I said price is probably gonna range between this area for the entire session. And that's exactly what happened here, right? Price pretty much just range between these price points I marked up, the 800 and the 700 mark. Looking over here at the SR chart, same thing too. Price pretty much just ranging between this middle area here. Fakes out below, comes right back up. So the range is between this middle area right here. Same with the range for our clean chart. It's just ranging down this middle area. So yeah, guys, I'll keep you guys updated with the breakout. Hopefully we get that direction over the next hour or two. Otherwise, I'll keep you guys updated until it closes out. So here's the thing. If this trade ends up running and doesn't hit TP by, we'll say 12, 12 is going to be my benchmark. Basically, if it hits 12 o'clock and the trade hasn't hit, I'm probably going to close out for a partial profit because I don't want to get liquidated. If you get liquidated on a personal account, your broker ends up charging you like a fee. I'm not trying to get hit with that fee. So I'll try to keep you guys updated, but I'm hoping over the next 2 hours we'll have some direction and then it'll hit our TP by then. So, all right, guys, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll still be around. I'm just going to be doing some work behind the scenes. I got to put together our stats for the week so far. Actually, I can't even put the stats together. The stats are already done. So I have the stats over here from this week. We had a win on Monday. We had a loss on Monday, a win on Tuesday and Wednesday, two back-to-back wins, a loss yesterday on Thursday, and then today is going to be the last one that I add on to here to complete the stats for this week. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to chime into the Discord. If you guys ever have any questions or you don't want to ask me directly, just hop into the team chat. I see people here type in all the time. Whenever people have questions, I respond pretty quickly. So if you're just nervous to hit me up one-on-one, just go to the team chat, talk in here, and then I will respond to you there if you guys prefer to communicate that way. Again, if you guys are interested in the hedge fund, so the hedge fund is pretty much almost filled right now. There's only a few spots left. So if you guys want me to trade for you, basically take the breakout. That's the main strategy I'm taking. I'm taking the breakout on everybody's account. And you don't want to do it yourself. You just want me to handle it. You want me to enter, you want me to exit, make the adjustments, all that stuff. Feel free to reach out to me as well, because there's a couple of spots left. I'm kind of limited right now to how many people I can manage. But yeah, if you guys are interested, let me know, because we're going to probably fill it by next week. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll keep you guys updated in the Discord regarding this breakout entry.